right, let's do it over.
Let me know when we can go. What's up, y'all? Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to episode number 1 of the Perfectly Incomplete podcast. I'm your host, Imogene, and
I'm your co-host, Toni.
All right. So I know y'all have seen me on Facebook. I've done a few things, but just to give you a little bit of background about me, I'm wild, I'm radical, I'm black, I'm beautiful, I'm sincere, I'm smart, I'm all of that, but sometimes misunderstood, which has caused me some problems in my life trying to find a place where I fit. And I haven't been able to do that. Hence the name Perfectly Incomplete. It has really bothered my sense of identity, who I am. And I'm just to the point now where I understand a lot of things about me. And so I'm creating my own platform to be who I am. And the reason I say I'm perfectly incomplete, because I'm just the way that I'm supposed to be. I'm right where I'm supposed to be. I'm only incomplete because I feel like as long as we're on this earth, in this physical realm, we're still growing and all of that good stuff. And so I'm perfecting my incompleteness through life experiences. And that's why I'm here. This is what's up, baby?
What do you do?
Oh, what do I do? What do I do? Well, actually, I'm a retired veteran.
Okay.
So, yeah, I got that steady paycheck coming.
Get it?
Also, I'm a music manager. I manage my son's musical careers. Mm-hmm. I'm a mentor. I'm an HR consultant. Mm-hmm. I have a business doing consulting, and I'm focused on training and development and self-esteem building. And I'm just a business person, and, I just do a lot of things. I do whatever. I think my purpose is I'm just a helper and an encourager. Mm-hmm. This boy got a cigarette in his mouth. But anyway, I just think...
not a cigarette.
I try... He's so retarded.
Oh, my God. Not a cigarette, Jesus.
You asked me the question. Are you listening to me?
I am. I got you. I'm here. I'm present.
All right. So basically, Toni, I'm just who I am, and I can be all things to all people. But, as far as my purpose on this earth, I just have a passion for helping people like me, to grow. And so I try to be whatever I can to people. Like if they need something, I run into people, they need something, an encouraging word. If they need a resource, if I can put them in touch. I believe that's who I am. Mm-hmm. So I just believe that's why I'm here. God put me here to just help people grow and become who they are.
Wow. That's amazing. I feel like I sound so dull compared to you.
Because
you got all this stuff going on. I'm just like, I'm Toni.
But that's who you are. You can be whoever you want to be.
I'm young and I'm still learning. That's just how I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do. Yeah, right. I have hair and nice teeth. That's
you have
all I got.
Beautiful teeth.
I do.
You do.
I try. I'll be trying to keep them white.
But that's what makes it amazing. Because I just said I'm perfectly incomplete. I'm perfect because there's no other Imogene. They might have my name. They don't have my fingerprint.
Right.
And you're Toni. So you can be whoever you want to be. Ain't no rules that have how you define yourself.
Right. That's true.
That's now, who are you? So finish. You had me giving my background and stuff.
I'm 25. I'm a college graduate. I am broke because I am a college graduate. So,
I ain't broke.
Well, yeah, right. I'm never broke, but I'm living that real 25,
Yeah.
I'm trying to live that real 25. But I work. I love my job. I cannot tell you where I work because I don't need nobody popping up there.
Right.
But I work. I love my job. I enjoy my coworkers. Shout out to y'all who are listening. And yeah, I'm in a relationship. He's great.
What you telling me for? I don't want him. I'm just saying. Why are you telling me? I don't want him. I'm
somebody
married.
out there might. That's what I said. He's great.
No, that's cool. Yeah, your man is very nice. Yeah,
he is. I was asking you for your opinion, actually.
I think he's really awesome, and you're not like my daughter, but we have this informal mentoring where you're like my daughter. I'm saying you're not my daughter. But these are the relationships that I have.
I just got this on.
No, I said it's just really amazing because I meet a lot of people through my sons and stuff like that. And you guys will hang out with them, and then their mom is in the mix, and I'm bugging. And then they're like, oh, your mom is just so cool. So I get in a relationship, and I think that's how I met you. So I'm saying you're not my biological daughter, but you're like a daughter to me.
I'm the daughter she wanted, okay?
No, she just wanted to be the daughter that they have. But anyway, let's get into it. Is there anything else you want to...
let's get into the topic.
Yeah, so we want to talk about sex versus intimacy. And the reason why we want to talk about this It has meaning, but Toni wants to have 5 kids, and she likes to have sex a lot. And which that's her thing. She's 25. At 54, I'm on a whole nother plane. Okay, but you know what? I think it's a good topic,
right?
Because it's huge. So yeah, let's talk about it. It's important.
It is. It is. I think it's very important to understand the difference between sex and intimacy, specifically coming from someone who is younger. You know, I feel like I have a lot to learn about intimacy. Granted, I may have it all put together. Who knows? I may think I have it all put together, but at the same time, I could be completely wrong. So I do want to have a conversation about what is the difference between sex and intimacy, because sometimes we use them as interchangeable, and it really doesn't make sense.
It doesn't, you know, because when I view, and I guess when you start from anywhere, you define the terms. What is sex? What is intimacy? And it sounds simple, but sex can be a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Like in my mind, honestly, being intellectually stimulated is making love to me.
Ooh.
You know, so like I'm on that level. But then some people, sex is having intercourse. Some people, it can be foreplay. Some people, it can be anal, oral sex or whatever. So let's just try to, for the purpose of this podcast, let's come up with how we're going to define the term sex and intimacy and agree on it before we get into, you know, whatever we want to get into. So how do you define sex?
I define sex as a physical act. So you have to do something in order to participate in sex. Granted, for instance, you know, like intercourse or what I wouldn't think I would consider outercourse sex, but
oral,
maybe I should.
It is.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, maybe I should consider like oral and or well, anal is intercourse.
Yeah. So that's
like intercourse or outercourse with another being. Granted, I say being because people are different.
But it could be with an animal. Honest. No, I'm saying it could be with an animal.
Right.
Let's not leave nobody out. I know that sounds crazy.
Right.
But people do have sex. You got some freaks. Look at that nip tuck. When the lady had the dog, like, licking her breast. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be wild. Just trying to be comprehensive, right? So we agree that sex is a
physical act.
A physical act, whether it's anal, oral. It can be with humans or animals, right?
Right. I mean, some people hump couches, but that ain't my business.
It may be nasty, but it's just, but it may be nasty. Excuse me, but that's the reality.
Right.
So we have a definition of sex. How do you describe intimacy?
Oh, is it hard?
No, I know the definition of it. All right, Mr. Dixon. Yeah, what is it? What does the
give us the
dictionary
dictionary.
say? I looked it up before we started.
Close familiarity or friendship. Euphemistically, it's an intimate act, especially sexual intercourse.
Especially sexual. Okay.
See,
I don't agree with that definition.
Wait a minute. What does euphemistically mean, first of all?
Euphemism.
Okay, well, I don't know that word that good to be using it like that, so you got to tell me what it means.
You know the word. You define it as your shot.
Okay, well, euphemism, I be thinking it's a euphemism when they kill somebody. I don't know. Just tell me what it is.
No, like another word. Like
I'm
they
smart,
use the words.
But if I don't know what it means, I don't know what it means.
Like they use the words interchangeably.
But anyway, what he said, sex, he said intimacy was sex. That's not true. Intimacy can lead to sex.
Intimacy can exist without sex.
Absolutely, because intimacy is closeness and intimate. When I think of being intimate with somebody, I think of being really comfortable, emotionally connected,
right,
where I can be vulnerable to just be myself.
Thank you. And it can happen without sex, or even I don't even think it has anything to do with vulnerability. Sometimes you can be intimate with someone even on a surface level, you know, where you don't want them to know too much. I mean, like, we're all human. We put up walls and, you know, bridges and tunnels.
That's a poor definition. I don't agree with that, just based upon how he defined it, and I don't want to be stuck here. But intimacy, the dictionary said it, it's connection. It's being close to someone where you can be yourself. Because look, if you're saying superficial, we're sitting here right now. Would you call this being intimate?
I think because of geographical
No,
space.
answer the question, yes or no.
Well, you asked me the question, and I'm answering it.
No, but are we being intimate?
This conversation is about intimacy.
I'm asking you, Toni, are you and I being intimate right now?
By having a conversation?
Look, girl, we sitting right here. She's doing too much.
No, I'm not doing too much.
Are we being, like I'm saying, we gave a definition of intimate. Are you and I being intimate right now?
By having a conversation, yes.
But even if we aren't having a conversation,
How can you be intimate without opening up your mouth?
because I can actually touch you or your person, and just
But
like
didn't I say to begin with, it does not have to do. Intimacy can exist, like without physical.
you didn't say that. You said
I definitely
you said
did.
externally. Okay, but anyway.
Roll
Okay, so let's find the medium. So I think intimacy. He gave the definition, and it's saying being close to someone, being connected. I think it's being emotionally connected. When you're being intimate, you're close with people, you're giving them information, they know you. For me, when I'm intimate with someone, I'm safe. There's such a connection that I feel safe. And when you're speaking in terms of sexuality or having sexual intercourse, being intimate is just being up close and personal. Would you agree?
I would have to agree with that. Yes.
So we good with that definition?
Yeah, we're fine with that.
All right, so what's the problem? Why does it matter to understand intimacy versus sex?
Because intimacy can exist without sex. I feel like that's you. What?
Go ahead.
And I feel like that's a common misconception that people have, that in order for you to be intimate with someone, you must then have a sexual act involved. And that's not true.
You're absolutely right. But what's important for me, well, I think it's important to talk about sex versus intimacy, because we got a whole lot of people that's having sex. They getting pregnant. They getting STDs. They don't have jobs. They're dropping out of school. I'm not going to get into the stats of teenage pregnancy because I really don't know them. But I'm just saying, as I look around.
I'm sorry, I have a question. Can you have sex without intimacy?
Absolutely. And that's what I was going to say. Because people have one night stands, right? You have people that are polyamorous, right? That they love 5 people. You have swingers with no emotional attachment. Some people, it is just a physical act. Wham, bam, thank you, bam.
Right.
Or blur, blur, thank you, sir. However you want to do that.
Blur, blur, thank you, sir.
If you're up close and personal with somebody, isn't that?
No, and that's what I said. Intimacy is a closeness. It's a connection. It's an emotional connection. Sex is the physical act. And you do, and I know being as women, women are different from guys. Well, they're the same. Yeah, I know. Because it's changed now. But women and men, they can have, it's like the straight up physical act, just a physical act to get gratification and have no emotional connection.
Right.
So that's sex. But then I think some people consider sex to be something else.
Like what? Like how else would you classify sex?
I don't know. Like I said, I'm a person, I like to be mentally stimulated, right?
Okay. So
and I'm married. What I find sexy, like when I'm talking to my husband and he can talk to me about politics and maybe I'm just crazy about that. But if there's a theory that I'm studying or something like that, and when my husband can relate, that is so sexy to me. And it may not be sex, but to me, he's making love. But that's a whole nother thing. So I guess it is what people say it is. But what's the big deal anyway? So we got intimacy, we got sex. So what's the problem? And we're just sharing this because this is stuff we deal with. But I think a lot of us females have a lot of issues that stems from this thing.
Right.
Mostly sex. And I ain't even going to say y'all want to be intimate because I don't know.
I wouldn't even say that people don't want to be intimate. I feel like what happens is that what had happened was.
What you laughing at?
Because I'm thinking.
You've been drinking?
I have.
Oh, okay. Yes, I'll drink to that.
Giggle juice, for real. So what was I saying?
You were saying that. What was she saying, y'all? You were saying that you feel like.
Oh, yeah. So I don't feel like it's. When we're talking about sex and with women, I don't feel like there's not a need or a want for that intimacy. I just think that we are just throwing the word out there like too much. Like, let sex be sex and let intimate behavior be intimate behavior.
So
and stop trying to, trick people into, you having sex with into being intimate with you.
So what's your take? Do you think... No, go ahead.
I just got a question. Do you think that sex should always be an extension of intimacy?
Ooh. Can I answer that?
You go ahead.
Lord, forgive me, Jesus. Yeah, don't judge me. You can if you want to. But I think it just depends on the people involved. Like people play sex games and they put roles, and I'm the fireman, you're the policeman, or whatever the case may be. And if people, the way they express their intimacy, whether they role play or whatever, some people, you know, they may tell their partner, their spouse, they're in an intimate relationship though. And another part of intimacy is when that dynamic is reserved for one person.
Right.
It could be, but that's the way I look at it. For one person, even if you messing around, and I don't condone that, that's a whole nother thing. But when I think about the true sense of intimacy, thinking about you reserving that for one person. So what you asked me again?
I said, do you think that sex should always be an extension?
No.
Or an expression, I guess.
I don't think so. Because
Sorry.
it was my turn. Because
You're
some,
talking a lot.
all right.
For real?
Well, go ahead, Tony. Because she be talking all slow.
Well, yeah.
Just a thing.
Right. So I can't put stuff out there and then
Okay.
take it back later. I'm
All
not
right.
going to backtrack with that.
Excuse me.
So, no,
You
I don't
heard?
think so. I think sex can exist completely outside of intimacy, specifically because you do not need to have an emotional connection to someone. You are just, you go back to the 90s and say duking.
I don't know what that means. But, and you don't have to. But,
Duking is crazy.
you don't have to, but you know what I think too? I think because there's intimacy, that you don't have to have it to have sex. Because I can remember back in the day, you know, you do quickies or whatever, you know?
Not quickies.
No, I'm just saying, if you're in an intimate relationship with a person and you guys are emotionally connected, you're friends and stuff like that, you might come home at lunchtime and say, look, babe, we ain't got time to be doing all that extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? Look,
Get it in, get it out.
And so, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, right?
No, I think that, I don't know. But you also have the relationships where they don't have sex, but that connection is still there without the sex.
Absolutely.
She's saying the word.
So that's why I say we need to stop using it interchangeably. Because like with the definition that Courtney gave us, they use intimacy as a euphemism for sex.
Look, y'all keep using this euphemism
It's
word.
another
and no,
word.
because I don't know what that means.
It's another word.
Another word.
Like another word, like another
It's like a
saying.
synonym. It's
Yes.
usually- You say it's a
Is it
more-
like
It's a more mild way of saying something that's usually brash or harsh.
is it
Right.
like a more, what's that word?
Like you
A
know how like
metaphor?
they used
Is it
to,
like a metaphor?
no.
In a way, it could be used like a metaphor if you say it.
Look, why can't
I
you
wouldn't
just
go
pick
as far
another
as a
word?
metaphor.
But anyway,
You know how,
don't
like,
use
for-
that word because I don't know what it means.
Okay, so you know how like
what euphemism is?
Can you tell them not to use? I don't know what it means.
all right, so we won't use euphemism.
Well, find another word.
Definition.
What is it?
I said it's a more mild way of saying something that is usually brash or harsh. Yeah.
Okay.
So instead of
So
saying
instead of
saying we effing,
We're
We're intimate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or instead of saying you a hoe, you know, you're
You're loose.
loose.
Okay. Okay. So, and for me, and I see there are differences, and I think why it concerns me being a woman, and I have a passion for women and the things we share in common, but I think why it's so important for sex and intimacy to be distinguished, because there's a lot of women, especially young women, you know, people my age and older, they have experience, and you know, it's like we're supposed to affect our generation, but inspire the next generation. You
Okay.
understand?
Right.
And so when I look at it, like there's like a lot of young women that are having babies, and they're not prepared. They're not prepared financially, emotionally, psychologically, but they're doing it. You know what I'm saying?
But why?
I don't know.
Like if you think about it, let's think about these women who you say are out there who are frivolously having sex.
Because it could be because they just like sex.
Right. But
But what happens? They're having sex for the physical act, but then they get an STD, right?
well, that's real intimate.
No, it is intimate with the body parts and the bloodstream and the lymph nodes and all of that stuff, right? No, you get an STD, and especially you just take it to the worst. You know, you get HIV or you get AIDS. And a lot of people, it has happened one time, you know, and there's other ways to catch these viruses, but you know what I'm saying? One time, these people were having sex, it's too late. Or even in the case where a little young girl has sex, she's in the 9th grade in school, she gets pregnant, you know, and just the problems that stem from that.
Right.
Or what about what really bothers me is why I would like for people to know the difference between sex and intimacy, and it's a personal thing. Because, and I know a lot of times it used to be women, we're Philly, we're very emotional creatures. And I know the way I was raised, sex, when you have sex, you really love that person.
Right.
That's the person you want to be with.
You had sex with the person you was gonna marry.
Yeah.
At least that's what I was taught.
Right. Right.
You save the chocolates. You save your chocolates for, your special gift to give to someone. That's what,
Save your chocolates for when it's Valentine's Day.
For Valentine's Day.
But it is problematic because I don't know, like women, we're a unique species and I care about us because I'm a woman, but I think that's the source of a lot of our issues. Because, if you look at a lot of women have men too, but we're women. So that's what's important to me. But, and it's good for men to know this too. But a lot of women, a lot of us share in being sexually abused, right? Or molested, and the impact that it has on us, even if it's happened to us as a kid or older people that have been raped, because that is sex without intimacy, like when you rape somebody, right? And I think of the far-reaching impact that it has. Because when I think of, when I think of somebody doing something to me that they shouldn't have done to me, and especially I'm younger and didn't really understand what it means. And now I get older and I think about this person putting their mouth on me in nasty ways and all that comes with it. Or I think about this guy I was in a relationship with who I really loved and gave up my cookie. And I meant nothing to him. It was like he hit it. And then the next day he didn't call me or whatever. I just know the impact that it did to me.
Yeah.
You heard?
Question in the audience.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that, I know it's. Is there two questions? Is there such thing as positive and negative intimacy in like the example that you gave?
That's a good question.
The example that you gave was like being molested or whatever. Isn't that still intimacy because there is a connection there? It may not be a healthy connection, but
And negative.
You gotta wait, Tony. Why don't you respond to
Positive
this?
and negative intimacy. I have never thought about intimacy
Me
that
either.
way. Thank you for that. But that is
It's the wine.
different.
It's the wine.
It's the oh Lord. How much have you had?
I have.
That's a really good question.
Positive and negative, and I think, well, when you put it that way, yes, I do think that is possible for you to, in a case of a sexual assault victim, I think that would be considered as negative intimacy, obviously, because it is not mutual. So I guess in a sense where you're talking about positive and negative intimacy, positive intimacy will more so go up under that mutual connection, as opposed to that one-sided, that unrequited connection between two people. How can I?
Let me interject. Excuse me, because after marinating on that, when he says, can it be positive and negative? I think it can be negative intimacy in the case where people are codependent upon each other.
Oh, I
you
didn't
had
even think
two
about
people,
that.
they know they're no good for each other. They're toxic.
That
They're
is
toxic,
good.
but they're connected sexually. That sex is so good, right?
Ooh.
And you ever seen people,
Been there.
they're just, they have the chemistry, right? But they know they're no good for each other. They make each other worse. So in a sense, it's like they're feeding off of their codependency, and the sex is crazy. And they know, so in a sense, to me, that can be negative intimacy. They have this closeness when it comes, excuse me, to this physical exercise of engaging in
Right.
coitus, or
See, I
however
didn't
you
even
want to say,
think of that.
they're getting it in. You know what I'm
Codependency.
saying? And
That's good.
and that person knows this person, and this person knows that person. So they're very intimate. They're very comfortable with each other. They're swinging from chandeliers. They're doing all kind of stuff, wearing
the
Batman suits and Wonder
Wait a
Woman,
minute,
and
swinging from
but being really
chandeliers.
comfortable. They
No,
have that.
stop, John.
They have that connection. But yet, when you look at them as far as a partnership or a couple, they don't add anything to each other's life. They're just toxic for each other. So I think that could be negative intimacy.
Ooh, Lord.
Another question.
Can you speak louder?
Yes, hi.
You're not getting on camera,
No, I
so
know, I
just
know. So you spoke about your experiences with being, with sexual abuse as a child and stuff like that. Can you give the audience pointers and advice on how people who have been previously sexually assaulted, on how dealing with that when they actually meet somebody like a husband or a wife, and how to not shut their partner off from the intimacy because they are.
That's too deep for where we are right now,
I'm
and
about
I'm
to
not
say,
and I'm not a
that's a
psychologist,
whole
but I will
nother
address it in this way from my personal experience because I have an established credibility as a psychologist, but I am experienced, so I can say as far as how being sexually violated affects intimacy because I was started like being molested like at the age of about 5. This old man, and he put his mouth on my vaginal parts. And, this is happening. He was an old, dirty old man that smoked Pall Mall cigarettes too, But how does it affect? How can it affect? Because that was just sex. And I was a little kid, 5 years old. So I had no capacity to consent or whatever, and all the little psychological woes that goes with it when you're not mentally developed. But it does create a problem with intimacy, and especially it's a conflict. Me growing up in the church, my mother giving me values, you get married. That's the highest form as connection. The two become one. But I never got to get to that because someone violated me. And then all the labels and all the shame and all the feelings that comes with that as you grow, right? And you look on the news and you see this person was arrested for this and, it just happens and it just does something to you. So to be totally honest, it does have the capacity to affect your ability to be intimate with someone. Because if you recall, we reinforce things that are good. Experiences, we reinforce them. Usually pain experiences, we try to run from them, we shove them away from us. But so it could be that someone that's been molested and then they try to have a normal sexual relationship, it triggers. You go back to the time, it's just say if someone tries to engage in oral sex and you know that you've been abused while someone performing oral sex on you. And it's like you get these feelings of shame, the stuff that comes with it, shame, I'm dirty, I'm this. And it's kind of hard to understand the way sex was created to be when it's already been tainted by what it wasn't supposed to be.
Right. What I would say to answer that question,
That's deep.
That was a lot. And thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot for one to share their experiences. And it takes a bigger person to be able to take their experiences, share it with another person, and still teach from that. So I thank you for that.
You're welcome, honey.
And I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
I almost cried.
You can cry if you want to. Is it the conversation or the wine, though?
No.
It's a combination of both.
No, that was real, y'all.
That
like,
was
seriously,
real.
that was like, I felt that. So, I had to get myself together.
We'll black out the camera.
Okay, well,
but
go
nonetheless,
for it.
to answer that question, to women whom are dealing with issues of intimacy coming out of sexual assault, I would say this. You are enough. Your situation does not shape who you are. What you have been through.
Why you
does
say
make you-
I don't like that. A lot of
because
people when they
I'm
talk,
trying not to cry.
Cry. I
I
want to get her some tissue, please.
Healing right here.
You are not your situation. If anything, you are not a victim. You are a survivor. Because, oh Lord, because you have been through enough. But because you have been through enough, you are enough. Any relationship that you do decide to go into from this point forward, allow it to be your choice.
These hard napkins.
Allow it to be your choice.
Take your
And
glasses off, Toni.
allow it.
She really crying up in here.
You don't understand. Like, this hits home for me. I don't talk about my experience because it still hurts.
So let's talk
As
about
20,
it. But you're in flow already.
That's
and
fine.
This whole podcast is about healing and relating. I'm not going to force you, but this is where you get your breakthrough. When you get emotional, when you get your you're flowing because you've been holding this and going through life and not having to deal with it. This is natural where it's affecting you emotionally. And this is your chance to really get some healing if you let it flow.
I'm not going to speak about my situation.
No problem.
We can talk about that another time.
I respect that. But you know I had to try to push,
You
right?
But
did.
that just opened the door, right?
Absolutely.
That did.
It's
But
process.
know that you're enough. In any relationship that you go into this point forward, they will be not lucky to have you. Because if you decide to go, they're still, you're just as lucky. Understand that. You don't have to get into any type of relationship that you don't feel comfortable being in. You don't have to stay in any type of relationship that you don't feel comfortable being in because you feel like nobody else is going to love you. You're enough. You're always going to be enough. And actually, you may be more to another person. Just know that.
Okay, I want to flip it. That was beautiful.
Oh, sorry.
And that I can't even touch that. But I got to flip the other side. Yeah, and you are enough to reiterate. And to be honest, I have to watch this because, our ways of thinking is different. So we're in two different places. And I get her, she's on the affirmative side of saying if someone has been in that situation where they have been violated and it's affected them, right? How they see themselves, their self-esteem, to just say, hey, you're enough. And I honor you for that. And I really connect with that because I've struggled with that. Here I am, 54 years old, and it took me to my 40s to really get there. So I thank you for that. And with that, I want to flip to the other side. We live where people, these alternative lifestyles, people have the right to live the way they want to. And to me, it doesn't matter whether you're gay, you're straight, whatever you are. But my question would be, why would you settle for sex when you can have intimacy? Because that's deep. And people can say, like people that mess with married men, they can say, I don't want to wash his clothes. I don't want to do all that. But by virtue that you would be second to someone who's committed to someone else is a flag that something is wrong. Or if you're dealing with someone single who you're making booty calls with, and that's cool with both of y'all.
Excuse me.
You live your life, but the way you want to, and people can justify it and say, I don't want no strings attached. It's just physical. But, I pose this question, why would you settle for that instead of intimacy? And women, you got a man banging on your body. You got to realize our organs are on the inside. Mm-hmm. A man's is on the outside. So when we're just letting somebody just sex us and just beat us, they're just beating down our organs with no intimacy, a physical act. Why would you settle for that?
Because for a lot of people, that's always been the cycle. And for a lot of people who've been through certain things, that's all they know.
We just said that. And I understand that. For a lot of people, and she just said you're enough, and she didn't go into it.
Accept that.
For people have been sexually abused, and people have been raped, and people that are like these families in Utah, these cults where you have these men that they breed just with women and they just take them and stuff like that. I get it. When you have that kind of lifestyle and that's what you're used to and that's what happened, it becomes the norm. But what I'm saying to whoever I'm speaking to and whoever I'm listening to, for someone who's never been abused, or even if you have been abused, but if you haven't, and if somehow you in this new millennium, and if you sagging or you ragging or you cleaving or you treeving, whatever you doing, this generation, why would the physical act of it? I mean, I need a response, and you guys can interact with us. Please leave comments, because this is something, it's a rhetorical question to simulate thinking, but why settle for less than the best? And when you're getting sex, just a physical act, you're not getting anything that's enhancing your spirituality or your growth. You're not getting anything. If anything, you're just piling up more stuff that's going to hurt you. Take it for this. And I know I'm older than you, so I've had some experiences. And for me, it's just a hurt feeling when someone is being with me. I have my feelings involved where I want relationship. And intimacy is about relationship. Mm-hmm. But when it's just about sex, like you said, it doesn't have to be intimacy. And to me, that's the worst feeling in the world. I know for me, I just think it made me feel worse. I've had experiences where I've engaged in sexual activity with someone and then I may have seen them and they act like they don't even know me, or I see them with somebody else, or I see them laugh at me or tease me. And that's the most hurting thing in the world. It's like, that's the most intimate, the private of private is for me. And what it, I don't know, just for me, the shame that comes with it. I mean, the shame, the hurt, like, I can't even look in a mirror because I feel so shame. And then I keep playing it out, like the physical act itself of how this person was with me last night or last week. And then how I seen him with this other person and this and that. And I mean, it just does something. It does something to you. And the reason I asked the question, well, why would people settle for just sex instead of intimacy? And you got a lot of people, that's all I want, this and that. But at the heart of the matter is something wrong with that. Would you agree?
I mean, I'm not going to tell somebody that they're wrong for how they feel.
No, you're never wrong how you feel.
Right.
But let's say that's not healthy. Right?
Yeah, I would say that. I don't think that it's healthy to just be like, oh, I just want sex.
Okay, y'all, I'm back.
We're back.
We had to take a break really quick. And we're talking about this intimacy and sex thing. And people are going to view it for how they view it.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I have a heart for the ladies, right? I know what I've been through. And I've met a lot of beautiful ladies, right? And it's just the far-reaching effects are so tremendous, and that's really my passion. And if so, I want to say to you, if you don't want intimacy and you just want sex, go for it. But I want to say to each and every woman out here, you are beautiful. You're beautiful. You're beautiful for just who you are. Your past don't define you, and you deserve love. And I'm saying to men, too, it goes for men too, because it could be homosexual relationships, right. And who am I to judge who's being with who, right? You could be heterosexual, homo, polyamorous, whatever the case may be. Everybody deserves to be valued and respected. And if you like wham bam, thank you, sir, ma'am, that's fine. But I'd say to realize your highest self, in my opinion, based on my beliefs, right? And I respect mine, but still be valued, because
know your worth.
Be
first.
Intimate. At least be, if you just like the physical act, don't settle for that. Let them stroke your ego, tell you how beautiful you are, how smart you are. Hold your hand, just look in your eyes. Make love to you without talking to you, right. And not just banging you, pulling your clothes off, ripping it off, and putting their poison inside of your body. When people are loose like that, when they're doing you just physical, they're doing somebody else. And you sleeping with everybody that they're sleeping with. And you should feel special. You're not a commodity.
And
so
everybody that they sleeping with.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on today. And Toni can say what she got to say. But I think sex is beautiful. I think it's more beautiful with intimacy.
Right.
And, everybody wants to be with somebody, but don't just be don't just be something letting somebody just bang you and just get up on you and do what they do to you and just to release their pressures.
Don't just be a box.
Yeah, the two of you become one, man. And it just messes you up, in my opinion.
Right. So I'm just going to say this, not to reiterate anything that you said.
You go ahead, baby. Do you.
But I'm going to say.
Because I'm doing me.
You better. Do you, if, sex without connection is your thing, go ahead, do it. And make sure you do it well, at least. However, if you do yearn for intimacy, look for that first. Before you think about sexual attraction, before you think about physical, look for intimacy first. Excuse me.
Girl, you got snot dripping everywhere.
I tell you, as soon as those tears started falling.
Don't let that touch my table.
I will not let it touch your table.
I'm real funny like that.
I'll put it on my phone before I put it on your table.
That, I love you, but I don't love you that much.
But, yeah. Look for intimacy first. That's awesome. What I would say.
And that's we're wrapping up.
It's
our first episode of Perfectly Incomplete. We said, it's about, you're perfect just as you are. You're only incomplete because you're still learning and still growing. And you're perfect just as you are, right where you are. I love you just as you are. I accept you. I value you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. But I need you to love you the way I love you. I need you to love you more than I love you. How about that?
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to us today.
And we'll see you next time. What we talking about next time, girlfriend?
Don't talk about what you're talking about.
We ain't talking about what we talking about next time.
How about you just come back next time?
Yes, come back next time.
Can you just let the viewers know that y'all don't know the sequence?
And we really don't because because we're just dealing with life on life's own terms.
Mhm.
You know, we're going through life. We're perfecting our incompleteness, right? And we have things come up day by day that's affecting us and how we see ourselves. So if something happens and it's relevant and it's on our heart, we're trying to grow too and constantly be in a state of self-acceptance, you know?
Damn, Mom, you real high score.
I'm hyped, yo.
She gets excited about this, y'all.
Absolutely.
So much excitement. Real
I love
serious.
you.
I love you.
Oh,
I've been blowing my nose. I
oh
ain't
yeah,
touching
don't touch me. You have to go wash your hands.
I am. That's why I'm like, I've been blowing my nose. See y'all.
All right, thank y'all for joining.
Yay!
You guys are boring.
You're alive.